Hi, I'm Jason Richards, and in the next 6 minutes, I'm going to let you in on a few closely guarded secrets that will save your life and the life of your family during the imminent food crisis. So please stop whatever you're doing right now. Turn off your phone, get off Facebook, and focus on this short presentation alone, because you're about to discover what essential foods you absolutely have to buy before stores run out. And I'm not talking about those expensive, unhealthy MREs. When to buy survival food to get the best deals in the market. And when I say the best deals, I mean buying tons of nutritious, long shelf life food for you and your spouse with just $10 a week. And I'll even show you exactly where to store it to last in perfect condition for months and even years without having to shell out $4,000 on a super freezer. I need your full and undivided attention because you absolutely need to know these food crisis survival secrets today before it's too late. The US is already facing serious troubles, and it's only a matter of time before we get our perfect storm. It's enough to turn on your TV and watch the news for a few minutes. You'll notice how a few worst-case scenarios start to unfold. Take natural disasters. They happen all around the country. Floods, droughts, hurricanes, earthquakes. They destroy everything in their way, and no one can possibly predict them. When Hurricane Irene came, so many preparations were made, and people still died, lost their homes, and lived off pity food for weeks. And all this suffering because they ignored the simple life-saving method I'm going to reveal to you today. But first, let's talk a little about the little nightmare that's been crawling its way into our pockets for 4 years now. Outrageous food prices. If you're tired of paying through the nose on food that gets more and more expensive every day, then brace yourself, because it's about to get really nasty in the next less than 2 months. As food prices are set to skyrocket like never before by up to 40%. And if that's not enough trouble already, there's one more thing that makes a food crisis not just imminent, but also certain. I'm talking about the end of the world predictions. And no, I'm not kidding. Even if the events don't kill you, or even if they don't happen, they can still threaten your life and the health of your family. I'll show you why in an instant. So what's the connection between the food crisis and what you see on TV? It's simple. When the media unleashes a disaster warning, be it hurricanes, floods, skyrocketing food prices, or a brand new end of the world prediction, food vanishes off shelves in a matter of seconds. You don't even have time to put your shoes on to rush to the supermarket for supplies because they'll be long gone by the time you get there. And that's because everybody rushes to the same supermarkets and stores to stockpile as much food as they can grab. And they empty the shelves with the speed of light. But what they don't know is that it may take minutes to clear a supermarket, but it takes weeks to fill the shelves back again. So once those supplies are gone, all you can do is stare at the bare shelves and starve. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever seen an empty supermarket? I sure have. And it froze the blood in my veins when I realized I had nothing to bring home to my kids. You can't find anything, not even a Twinkie. At first, people just stare at them in disbelief. Where did all the food go? How is it possible for all the food to disappear? Then comes the panic. People begin to understand they won't get the food they need and go wild with anger. What am I going to do without food? How did that guy find water when I can see none? Bread. Where do I find bread? Finally, despair breaks loose and all you can hear is, I need to feed my family. Suddenly, you see how good neighbors become worst enemies. Fighting over a bag of pretzels or a loaf of bread, trying to steal food from other parents to feed their own children. And you realize your family's survival depends on how much food you can grab before others do. It's a traumatizing experience. And if you haven't seen anything like this yet, then you need to brace yourself for what's about to come. Because there's an incoming disaster that you've been hearing about everywhere. On TV, on the radio, in the newspapers, on the internet, even on the streets. Actually, I bet you've thought about it yourself, just like everyone else. But although people like to laugh about it like it's the prank of the century, they don't realize this will turn into a full-blown tragedy. I'm talking about the highly publicized end of the world in December 2012. Most people find this prediction hilarious, and I can't really blame them, you know. So many Armageddons have been announced so far, we should really have been blown to bits like 100 times by now. However, people stop laughing when due date is just 24 hours away. Remember how everyone laughed when preacher Harold Camping made a silly prediction for May 21st? But that day came, and when it did, supermarkets were emptied by 6 p.m. People fought over the last food items, desperate to get prepared in case the world implodes right under their eyes. And think about it. This prediction got only a fraction of all the media hype around the December 2012 end of the world. Just imagine what it'll be like then. Food will vanish in just a few minutes, with bloody fights you only see in mixed martial arts. And all this savage behavior due to a prediction that might not even come true. But how about real events that are more likely to ravage the US before 2012 even begins? I'm talking about 3 imminent threats that will lead to food shortages all over the US. The simplest thing that could happen is another natural disaster the size of Katrina or Hurricane Irene. You may not realize this, but if a major earthquake or flood hits your area this month, roads will be closed and food transportation could freeze for weeks, even for just a minor disaster. This means hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people will be stranded in the streets with nothing to eat or drink. And until supermarkets start replenishing their food and water stocks, people will have to fight for the last bit of grain with all other starved people out there. But that's just the beginning, because nature's got even deadlier surprise in store for Americans. It's called severe crop decimation. It's galloping towards us like a freight train with no brakes. This devastating event is currently turning the USA, formerly known as breadbasket of the world, into a perpetual dust bowl. The latest severe droughts in Texas and Oklahoma have wiped out our crops to such an extent that we are forced to import 1/3 of our food, as our crops are no longer enough to feed the entire population. And when people ask for more food than can be produced, something very simple happens. And that is, food prices start to skyrocket. In less than 3 months from now, economists predict we will go through one of the biggest crashes in the food industry. When this happens, the outrageous rise in food prices will force most stores to close, while only a handful of supermarkets will be able to pay for their supplies. Think about it. You might have to share a half-empty supermarket with up to 600,000 other people, all shopping for the same essentials that you are trying to get for your family. These facts have been repeated over and over again by economists, professors from Ivy League universities, etc. However, people still refuse to believe food shortages can affect them. What they don't know is that it's all happened before, right here in the USA. For example, did you know that during World War II, food was rationalized here in America? Imagine a regular family living on 4 loaves of bread and no more than 6 eggs for an entire week. And our parents or grandparents actually got to live in those horrific times. Some even had a close encounter with the Great Famine from the Great Depression, when tens of millions were thrown into poverty and hunger. People were forced to live on the streets and fight for every bit of food they could find. Unfortunately, our past becomes our future. Supermarkets have already started to rationalize grains because we're getting lower and lower on rice, corn, wheat, but also sugar, coffee, and spices. In the meanwhile, prices are getting higher and higher, while people are getting poorer and poorer, and there seems to be no bright light at the end of this dark tunnel. The bottom line here is if you're like 99% of Americans who depend on stores for food and water, you're going to have a hard time surviving a food shortage. However, if you decide to take action now so you can save yourself and your loved ones later, you need to be extra careful about what you spend your money on. There are many so-called survivalists out there trying to trick you into buying the most expensive items on the market. You'd be surprised just how many people spend thousands of dollars on dangerous MREs without knowing that this poor alternative to food can actually cost them their health, or worse. And when they realize all their efforts to stockpile food for their family were absolutely useless, it'll be too late to fix it because all the vital items will be long gone. Here's the shocking truth about stockpiling. Buy the wrong items and you can still starve to death even with fully packed shelves. It may sound completely absurd, but there are so many things that can go wrong. For instance, you could buy a perfectly good survival food, but a tiny flaw in packaging could turn your food stash into a rot in just a matter of days. And when food crisis reaches your town, you'll watch your family suffer from malnutrition because your supplies have already been eaten by bugs or rodents. Or you could make the mistake that over 65% of people make and buy dead food, food with absolutely no nutritional value whatsoever. Food that'll make your kids sick with malnutrition and other nasty stuff like nausea, infections, diarrhea, or fainting. But even if the food is healthy and nutritious, you can still make the deadly mistake of not knowing how to store it. And that's one easy mistake to make. Anything can ruin your food stash. Sun, rain, humidity, cold, heat, easy access from the outside. All it takes is a minor flaw in your system, and all the food and all the money you've invested goes straight out the window. And when crisis really hits, you'll be throwing out the items that thousands of people fight for every day. And then you'll be forced to join the angry mob and fight over a loaf of bread just to feed your family. But luckily, there's a simple solution to all these problems. A quick and easy way to cheat any food crisis without having to stand in a never-ending lineup, fight over food, or tell your hungry children that they have to share a bowl of soup. Here's what it's all about. Too many Americans are going through financial hell these days. You might be one of them. And the cold truth is that if you want to boost your chances of survival, you need money. No money, no food. Simple as that. On the other hand, snake oil salesmen all over the world are peddling obscenely expensive survival solutions that only the rich can afford. So what chances do you stand when the food crisis hits? So what chances of survival do you have when the food crisis hits? With no millions in the bank, no proper stash, and no real plan on how to come out safe on the other side. That's why I've come up with a simple and easy plan to prepare for the upcoming food crisis without breaking your bank account. The result? A complete list of the 41 vital items that instantly vanish off shelves so that you can get tons of nutritious food for your family at the lowest price in the market. Imagine you can buy 7 days worth of life-saving supplies for 2 people with just $10 a week. What this crucial information means for you is the chance to keep your family healthy and happy when most people will be forced to watch their dear ones suffer or even lose their lives. However, this also puts a lot of emotional pressure on you. Here's what I'm talking about. Your friends and neighbors probably don't take the danger of a food shortage seriously. Although it's supported by facts, most likely think it's another wacky prediction. So when they see you preparing for the upcoming food crisis, they'll probably ask if you've gone crazy. But think about this. When the food crisis comes, they'll be begging you for food. And that's because you'll be fully packed with nutritious items, while they'll have nothing but empty shelves and growling stomachs. These unfortunate people will have to fight for every bit of food with starved mobs of savage beasts. Because when it comes to life and death situations, you're not dealing with regular Americans anymore. You're dealing with starved wolves ready to attack and tear at your flesh just to provide some food to their families. I mean, let's face it. Americans can't handle a food shortage. We're so used to the comfort of our day-to-day lives, with going to the store and satisfying every craving we may have, with having every problem solved in a matter of minutes. Hunger, thirst, pain. How do you think Americans will react when one day they wake up and realize their whole life changed overnight? That it's impossible to buy items you cannot survive without, the very ones found on my list, and that their own kids can't sleep because of stomach pains, and that they're so thirsty they can't even speak. And the most painful thing of all, they can't do anything about it. Here's what they'll do. They'll go mad with panic and start a bloody fight for survival. I know, this behavior may not be rational, but the truth is, it's as human as it can really get. When your family's life depends on you, you'll do everything it takes to keep them alive. And people will shamelessly do anything to survive when a food crisis comes. In fact, they actually prefer ignoring all facts and warnings and live their regular lives until the day comes when they have to stab their own neighbors for some food. You tell me, wouldn't it be a lot easier to spend as much as $10 a week and stockpile the essentials before the crisis forces you to take desperate measures? I mean, let's be serious. There's been plenty of facts and warnings to alert anyone who turned on their TV or surfed the net at least once in the past 2 years. News channels like Fox, CNN, and BBC have constantly been reporting food shortages in the U.S. for at least 3 years now. Economists invited on the sets have been urging people to start stockpiling ever since 2008. People who have already experienced food shortages and panic buying have posted live footage of people fighting for food in supermarkets and stores. Just go to YouTube, see how many parts of the world are already facing food crises. Even world-class economists say that the U.S. is wrestling with the worst food inflation in 17 years, according to the Associated Press. And one recent study shows more than 1 in 8 people in the United States live below the poverty line and will not afford food after this year's hike in prices. Think about it. All these people are the ones you'll have to compete with for your daily food every single day. And brace yourself, there's going to be over 43 million of them. Here's another scary fact. In October 2010, the United States saw a record number of citizens living on food stamps, 40.8 million, expected to reach 43.3 million by the end of 2011, while the number of millionaires has also reached a record high. In 2009, right in the middle of the economic meltdown, the number of millionaires went up by 17.5%. So if the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer, this means that middle-class Americans, people like you and me, are just one small step away from being thrown into poverty. We're the ones who will suffer the most when commodity prices go through the roof again. And when the food shortage strikes, we're going to experience what it's like to live in a third world country right here in the USA. Fortunately, I found a way to avoid this tragedy and prepare for the crisis even if you have serious financial problems. This list of 41 vital items allows you to buy all the supplies your family needs for survival without forcing yourself to sacrifice your savings. You can save big bucks and prepare for the imminent food shortage with just a few simple strategies. For example, you're going to discover the number one rule of stockpiling that no one ever tells you about. You'll find out why all other stockpiling recipes are wrong and how you can make your own money saver strategy with almost no effort at all. Also, I'll show you the life-saving food that can bring anyone back on his feet, no matter how weakened they are from food deprivation. And on top of that, I'll also show you how to get it for dirt cheap prices from your local drugstore. And if you didn't know there was a dead simple way to cook nutrient-rich meals for your entire family throughout all the crisis, then it's time to take a look at the Ultimate Food Shortage Survival Guide. This complete step-by-step program was created to give you everything you need to survive the imminent food shortage with 3 full meals a day for your entire family while keeping a safe distance between you and desperate looters or violent mobs. It's a complete program that's been designed from the ground up to be light on your pocket. If you got $10 to spare for the future of your family, this program is for you. Here's just a glimpse of the amazing things you'll discover when you grab this guide. The common mistake that can instantly leave you and your family with nothing to eat for weeks and put your life in danger. I'll show you how to provide enough food for your family with no risk whatsoever, so you'll barely even know the food crisis has hit your town. You'll discover the 16 items you absolutely need to have on you during a short-term evacuation. All it takes is a medium-sized backpack and these crucial items, and you'll be covered for up to 14 days. And you'll understand how a slight change in your stockpiling strategy translates into 10 times more protection for your family against attacks and injury. This technique will keep looters away from your house while you'll be sitting on the giant goodie bag everyone's looking for. But most of all, you'll get a list of 41 crucial items that you cannot survive without. These items disappear off store shelves with the speed of light in the case of disaster, so you better get them in advance if you want to make sure your family is never hungry or malnourished. And if you want to be safe in the comfort of your own home instead of fighting with your neighbors for the last can of Spam. Inside this comprehensive guide, you'll also discover how to use your hidden skills to get all the food your family needs in case the food shortage persists after you finish your supplies. What not to eat or drink when you're out of canned food and bottled water. You know, there are some seemingly harmless foods that can make you and your family sick, but I'll show you exactly what to avoid so you'll protect your family's health. Also, I'll reveal to you the highly nutritious grain that'll disappear from supermarkets in just a few years due to severe droughts. However, you can still buy it now at rock-bottom prices and store it for months or even years. And here's one for the emergency situations when you have to evacuate. How to turn your bug-out burden into a comfortable backpack. I'll show you how to make it so light even a 10-year-old can carry it and not leave out a single essential item. It took me literally hundreds of hours to search for all this information and see if it really works or not. At some point, I was so determined to find the ultimate life-saving items that I starved myself for up to 4 days to see which ones worked better and faster. I've gone through a lot of pain to try this on myself, so now I can assure you every item on this list has been tested on humans. That's how I discovered MREs are just expensive garbage, and I was shocked to find that $2 foods can be more than enough to get well fed and energized for an entire day. Now you might be wondering, why am I sharing this life-saving knowledge? It's simple. You see, I've been living in this country for 55 years. I've accomplished my dreams here. I've seen my children grow, and now I want my grandchildren to live in the America I used to know. I have hope that the USA can overcome this terrible crisis just like it did before. But that will only happen with the help of trustworthy middle-class Americans that have lived during the golden age of this country and who have the faith that it can be brought back. That's why I'm making this offer to you today, because I know you're taking this seriously and you'll use this information wisely. Look, so far I've shown you undeniable proof that a food shortage will happen and that the signs are everywhere. I've also shown you how food shortages have affected Americans in the past and what harsh lives they had to live in times of economic disasters, just like the ones we're going to deal with in about 3 months from now. But I've also given you the solution to all these imminent threats, a solution that requires only $10 a week and a few short visits to the supermarket. This will help you keep your family healthy and safe in a dog-eat-dog world where your normal chances of survival are pretty slim. But that's just the beginning, because even though the ultimate food shortage survival guide gives you everything you need in order to survive a food crisis, you still have 4 major problems threatening your chances of survival. Have you ever wondered, in case a food shortage hits your town tomorrow, where will you get enough fresh water for your family? Where will you get fresh food that's got all the vitamins and nutrients you need? How will you protect your family if an epidemic starts? And how will you guard your home during power blackouts? If you don't have a clear answer to these questions, you're in the right place, because I've got a surprise for you. If you try the Ultimate Food Shortage Survival Guide today, you'll also get, entirely for free, 4 bonuses that will make all these problems disappear into thin air. Here's what I'm talking about. Bonus number 1, the Green Energy Backup Guide. If a flood or an earthquake hits your town, electricity is the first one to go down, and it's also one of the last problems fixed. In fact, when a major disaster strikes, like Hurricane Irene or the recent earthquakes in Japan, it can take the electric companies up to 3 weeks to restore power. This means 21 days with no cooking, no heating, and no security for your home. Sounds frightening, doesn't it? Well, now you can insulate your home from these problems with a simple and effective do-it-yourself green energy guide. In this report, you'll find out how to get free electricity from your own solar backup generator. With a few panels, you can slash your bill by up to 50% every month. Also, you can now save up to $27,000 on retail solar panels just by making your own. All it takes is 1 weekend of easy work, and you don't even need to be a techie. It's so simple, a 10-year-old could do it. Plus, I'll show you how to tap into wind power, so you'll get free electricity even when it's cloudy or dark. And when everyone's sitting at candlelight, you'll be able to keep your family warm and well fed. Here's another bonus that'll change your life. Bonus number 2, water purification made easy. Did you know that bottled water is the first one that flies off the shelves? If a crisis strikes, chances are there will be fights for every single bottle found in stores. Drinking tap water may seem like a good alternative, but it can be very risky if you want to expose your immune system to chlorine and fluoride. Fortunately, there's now a simple solution to provide fresh, clean water to your family for months. You can make your own pro-level purification system, and it'll only cost you a few bucks. You can find 99% of the parts for free and build the system in just a couple of hours, no matter what your skill level is. Also, you can now get clean water without wasting all the essential minerals that your body needs, unlike other purification processes that end up draining all the good stuff out of the water. You'll even master the skills of filtering water when you're traveling. It only takes you about 20 minutes and a few common items you can get for free, and you can drink Mexico tap water with no fear whatsoever. But there's more. If you invest in the Ultimate Food Shortage Survival Guide, you'll also get bonus number 3, the Lazy Man's Guide to Survival Gardening. Look, canned food can be a lifesaver in times of severe crisis, no doubt about it. But there's also a downside. It doesn't give you all the vitamins and nutrients you need. This is where malnutrition symptoms appear, like nausea, diarrhea, and weakness, as first signs that you're in serious trouble. The only way to make sure you stay healthy and well-fed at all times is to eat fresh veggies and fruits. But how can you get your hands on fresh food during a food crisis? Here's how. This special report reveals 22 types of mini gardens you can choose from, according to your own space and needs. The detailed presentations and instructions will help you create the perfect garden for you without wasting an inch of space. And without wasting a single cent, I'll show you how to save money on seeds, tools, and fertilizer, and still get the juicy vegetables and fruits you'd only get with pro equipment and special seeds. And if saving hundreds of dollars isn't enough, find out how you can save time and effort with the quickest way to get the fully grown survival garden every year. This trick will help you cut 60% of your gardening work while getting juicier vegetables in every season. These 3 bonuses alone will guarantee that you and your loved ones stay healthy and well-fed all throughout the crisis. However, in harsh times like food shortages, it's very easy to get sick. You might contract some bacterial infection from someone else. And if an epidemic starts in your town, you could get sick by just going outside to check your mail. Now, there's a way to prevent and treat these symptoms naturally without spending your money on expensive and toxic pills. That's why I'm giving you bonus number 4, Secrets of Herbal Medicine. This guide gives you everything you need to know to keep away infections, stomach burns, diarrhea, nausea, fever, and even intoxications in just a few simple steps. Here are some of the natural miracles you'll discover inside this special report. Nature's little-known emergency detox remedy. This amazing plant eliminates the most dangerously toxic substances from your body, even mercury and heavy metals. 6 precautions you absolutely need to take when using herbal medicine at home. These tips will make it easy to use natural remedies safely and avoid the most common mistakes that can actually make your symptoms worse. A common veggie that boosts your immune system naturally and protects you and your family against countless illnesses. Don't forget, if you want to get these 4 special reports for free, you need to grab a copy of the Ultimate Food Shortage Survival Guide today. Okay, we've covered so many things in this presentation that you're probably wondering how much this is going to cost you. I know people usually feel that life-saving information like the one inside my guide should be expensive. I disagree, even though that thought did cross my mind a few times. I designed this guide to be very light on your pocket, and that includes the price too. Truth is, my wife initially told me to set a higher price. Much higher, actually. She helped me a lot with my research, and she discovered that there's no other program like this on the market. My program is the only elaborate guide that shows you how to stockpile tons of food for months or even years with only $10 a week. So let's just think about the alternatives you could try, or that you've maybe already tried but threw your hands up in frustration when they were either too expensive, too complicated, or both. You could buy survival food on your own. You could go to the supermarket right now and start throwing all kinds of cans in your shopping cart, then deposit all of it in your garage or in a kitchen cupboard, and then watch how your food and your money slowly turns to rot. Or you could start your own research to replicate the same info I collected inside the Ultimate Food Shortage Survival Guide. Well, good luck with that, because it took me 4 months of continuous research to get here. I wasted thousands of dollars on food that proved to be as unhealthy as plastic. I talked to 8 different specialists in alternative medicine to find out which remedies worked best. I got completely immersed in statistics, lists, and prices. Then I've tested almost every item. And finally, I gathered only the best of the results in the Ultimate Food Shortage Survival Guide. And when you think about it, this isn't even about the list of items or about getting survival food at affordable prices. It's about having safety, control, and security for you and your family. And I'm not sure you can even put a price on that. So here's the deal. When you order the Food Shortage Survival Package, you get the Ultimate Food Shortage Survival Guide, the Green Energy Backup Guide, Water Purification Made Easy, the Lazy Man's Guide to Survival Gardening, and Secrets of Herbal Medicine. Not for $199, what they're truly worth. Not for $97 either. Not even for half of that. But you get the entire package for $27. Yeah, you got that right. Let me repeat that just to make it crystal clear. Just $27 for the whole package. So, if you want to discover how to pack your shelves with nutritional, healthy, and affordable food, if you want to provide fresh water for your family with just a few bucks, if you want to have emergency power without spending thousands of dollars, then click the big orange Add to Cart button below and grab a copy of the Ultimate Food Shortage Survival Guide now. And really, the price doesn't even matter. That's because you're covered by my 60-day, no questions asked guarantee. This means you got 2 months to decide whether the Ultimate Food Shortage Survival Guide is for you. Study it and see if it meets my 3 promises to you. It's simple. With the help of the Ultimate Food Shortage Survival Guide, you'll be able to feel more confident about your future, be more relaxed, and completely forget all your worries about not being able to put food on the table. You'll have more control about your life since no natural disaster can leave you at the mercy of authorities. You're fully covered for months and even years ahead. And what's most important, you'll be able to help your family stay healthy and happy, no matter what the future brings. You'll protect them against hunger, you'll keep them safe from getting sick, and you'll help them strengthen their minds and bodies with rich, nutritious foods every single day. So, if at any time during the next 60 days you're not absolutely thrilled with the secrets revealed in the Ultimate Food Shortage Survival Guide, you don't have to pay a dime. Just send me a quick email address that you'll find in the members area, and I'll issue you a fast and courteous refund. No questions asked and no forms to fill out. So, if you want the Food Shortage Survival Guide risk-free, then simply click the orange Add to Cart button below and save your family from the imminent food crisis. Listen, if you got this far into my presentation, you're probably not like most people. You understand that a food crisis is a matter of life and death, and you know that it's your responsibility to take care of your family. And the way I see it, 3 paths lay before you. Path number 1 is very common, but I really hope you won't choose this one because it will only lead you to a world of pain and suffering. That's exactly what's going to happen if you sit and do nothing. You'll keep living under the continuous stress that you might have nothing to feed your family at one point when the real hard times come and the clock is ticking. So path number 1, you can do nothing and hope there will be no food shortage. Unfortunately, this is overly optimistic. You've seen the proof, you've heard the facts, and you know that this isn't something new. All signs are pointing to something big, and if you don't prepare now, the train will leave the station, with or without you. Obviously, there's also path number 2. You can take whatever you've learned today and try and come up with your own food crisis survival guide. Honestly, go ahead, give it a shot. But I can tell you from experience that it'll take you a whole lot of time, effort, and money to get the list of 41 crucial items that I'm sharing with you here. And in this particular case, trial and error could put your family in serious danger. Think about it. Are you willing to risk your time, money, and your family's health when there's a faster, proven method to avoid all this? It took me 4 months to get this list together. 4 months of tests, of separating the worthless info from the life-saving strategies, 4 months of comparing prices, of finding affordable alternatives to the uber-expensive items other survivalists are promoting, just to make sure you really get the ultimate food crisis survival guide. Decide for yourself, is it really worth reinventing the wheel when the shortcut is right in front of you? Or you could simply choose path number 3, which I've already leveled, paved, and swept for you. Grab your copy of the Ultimate Food Shortage Survival Guide and get nutritious, healthy supplies for $10 a week, simply by following my complete roadmap. Stop worrying and start enjoying relaxing moments with your family without thinking another moment about your bills, the food you put on the table, or about any incoming disasters they've just announced on TV. With my generous 60-day guarantee, there's really no way you can lose. So click the big orange Add to Cart button below. You'll get to our secure order page and you'll be able to claim your copy of the Ultimate Food Crisis Survival plus all the fast action bonuses right away.